He coveted what he did not have, and it drove him mad. What a curious conundrum.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Ghostly French Toast, and today we're doing a lore video on Dear Duke Freja, more like Saldora himself and his connections to Dragon Lake, because I have a personal theory I'd actually like to actually discuss, which I think's kind of crazy that I don't think anyone's talked about this. So with enough dawdling around, let's dive on in. Before we start talking about Freja, Saldora and Dear Duke Freja themselves, I'm gonna discuss a major character that I think's involved with their story, Aldia. Who Aldia is, I talked about him in my What is the Throne of Want video. I'll have that link down below. But who Aldia is, he's basically the brother of King Vendrick. King Vendrick was basically the ruler of Dragon Lake until it fell. And until the Chosen and Dead came along, he's like, hey, I'm going to take this kingdom for myself. Or you can banish the dark, or sit on the throne of whatever you want. That's not what I'm talking. The main reason I'm talking about Aldia is his experiments on trying to cure the undead curse, and his experiments in Aldia's Keep. We know that in Aldia's Keep we find a prowling magus, and that's very important to the basically what I'm going to be talking about, because prowling maguses are basically followers of Aldia. To say they basically research with Aldia. And we know that Vendrick banished Aldia to Aldia's Keep after some conflicts of interest in what they should do, and they went their separate ways on trying to save the kingdom. Something important is Aldia couldn't leave, but the prowling maguses, all of them, they could leave and go explore the land, and that's why we see one in Saldora. The prowling magus and congregation, one of the most made fun of boss fights in the entire franchise. But I feel like this boss fight actually helps explain the lore, like how Smolter Demon explains the lore of Old Iron King and how he fell. Aldia, we know, had done a research on dragons, and he helped create the ancient dragons themselves. And we see an ancient dragon in Dragon Shrine. And that's something to take note of, because where else do we see an ancient dragon in the game? None other than Saldora themselves. Saldora, because you can actually, with the mist themselves, you can actually access the ancient dragon memory. And who do we get that mist from? None other than the ancient dragon created by Aldia. So Aldia must have had some reason to go to Saldora, because he has the mist. He was able to create the ancient dragon and gave him the mist power. And we know that the ancient dragon's a part dragon, part giant, all that kind of spiel. Alright, so that's just basic. I'll connect more later. Let me just talk about Saldora itself. So Saldora was actually a mining town, and it actually it was at the height of their gemstone mine, and you see that right before the entrance to Dear Duke Freja. And I know people might be confused why I'm saying Freja. I know there's like multiple pronunciations of it, but I like saying Freja. It just sounds cool, you know. We know that at the end of the boom mine, Saldora himself basically was like, hey, you know, it would be funny if a bunch of if I infuse... Oh, I forgot to talk about Freja herself. Before I continue with the story, I'll continue with this sec. Sorry. Alright, so here. Alright, so Freja is a spider, right? And we know it's a giant spider. We know that, basically the theory goes, and I feel like this is kind of what the developers were intending, that Freja was supposed to be the afterlight of Seath. And I know this is very off topic, because you get the Seath Lord Soul thing at the after beating him. I know this is very off topic, but something I feel like no one really talks about. They have some ideas, but you get Life Drain from Dark Lurker. And Dark Lurker, I mean, there's no 4 King Soul, because in the game, there's no like New Game Plus 4 King Soul. But I feel like, because we know that the great beings are basically descendants of the old lords, like Lost Sinners, Izalith, Nito, not Nito, Rottens, Nito, all that kind of spiel. I think Dark Lurker is actually the descendant of the four kings. He has 4 arms, which would make sense because there's 4 kings. And you get the life drain ability, and if you don't know why life drain is important to the 4 kings, that's actually what that's what Karth basically tempted the 4 kings with, to basically bring ruin to New Londo. Alright, I just wanted to bring that up. I always wanted to talk about that, but I just didn't have a video to talk about that, and I just didn't want to do a full Dark Lord. I may do a full Dark Lord lore. We never know, because there's a few other ideas I have with him, but nah. We're talking about Freja. The reason I think Aldia, I'm going to talk about my theory with Aldia and Dear Duke Freja. The reason I think I don't think Sadora was that smart of a man. He was a researcher, yes. I think he had some ties to Aldia, because to enter Sadora, you basically have to defeat Prowling Magus and Congregation. And where else do you see Prowling Magus and Congregation? In Aldia, and Aldia's Keep. And we know Prowling Magus and Congregation were basically to cure the sick, but they may also have been collecting research to help cure the Undying Curse. And in Aldia's Keep, you see these big monstrosities like the ogres, the thing, I'm forgetting the names, they're in the Lost Bastille as well. I think you mimic some gargoyles, you see all them. And it would make sense that a giant spider would be there as well. I think Aldia had some part to play in the creation of Dear Duke Freja. It makes sense as well, lore-wise, because Prowling Magus, as I said before, is going around, all that kind of spiel. And we know Aldia had a habit of trying to create things that basically helped save the world. And this is going off the rails right now. We know that Aldia figured out that humanity was supposed to take over. And going off the theory I have, that Aldia had a part in creative Dear Duke Freja, it would actually make sense, because you get Seath Lord Soul right after you can create the Moonlight Greatsword and Crystal Soul Spear from that soul. And it kind of makes sense that Aldia might have learned that that humanity was supposed to take over from Seath Lord Soul, because Seath had a part in playing of keeping the world alive, keeping the Age of Fire going. And I just feel like that's it makes sense. I know I'm just kind of making myself believe that, and just tell me what you guys think. I think that's a very interesting theory, to be honest. And going back to the fall of Sadora, Dear Duke Freja got out of the cage and actually broke out and basically unleashed all her babies around the world, around Sadora, not the world. And we see that Blacksmith Ornifex is the only living member, and Pate is the only living member of the town. And we know Pate got out of time because we see him in the Forest Fallen Giants. There we go. So yeah. One last thing, the fun trivia fact. Freja in actually Greek means fertility. And we know that Freja gave birth to plenty of spiders, and we see her in her boss fight. So yeah, I just thought that was an interesting fact to include, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Ghostly French Toast. Bye.